Hello, happy Thursday. Welcome to the Discover Your Career weekly Q&A session with me, Sarah Curto, resident career management specialist, career coach, resume writer. I'm happy to be here today to talk about how your thoughts, feelings, and actions are preventing you from going after your career dreams. And actually, some of this could be applied to any sort of goals and dreams that we set for ourselves. So it is a fun-ish topic. But first, I wanted to update everyone and keep you in the loop with some sort of housekeeping stuff. First of all, my Master the Interview workshop that was planned for tonight, we've postponed it until January 31st at the Brant Hills Library. That was my fault, because I double booked myself and didn't realize until first thing, like really early on Saturday morning. And thankfully, the Burlington Public Library were amazing and were open to pushing it out because I have something for my kids at school and they're my priority. So I was really thankful that we were able to do that. So come January, we'll be doing that. The other thing in January we'll be doing, if you are a member of the Career Networking Group in Halton Region, if not, sign on up. I'll put a link in the comments below after this. We'll be doing a meet and greet networking event in January. So, networking is kind of icky and awkward and scary. We're all going to be there, feeling the same feelings, getting practice together. So I think it'll be a great way to sort of get baby steps and feeling better about networking while also growing and expanding your network. So there's that. And so for more pressing news, for any resume writing, cover letter writing, LinkedIn profile writing, the last day for this month that I will be meeting with individuals will be December 14th. So meeting in person, over the phone, on Google Hangouts or a Zoom meeting will be December 14th to give me a week to make sure that all of those documents, and we go back and forth till we have the final documents, are completed by the 21st, because then it's holiday week. So if that is something, I am booked up for next week. But the first 2 weeks of December, I am taking a couple of clients. So if that is something that you want, because come January 7th, that first full week in January, you want to hit the ground running and start applying to jobs in their busiest hiring season, now is the time to get that resume done. Okay? So you can reach out, let me know if that's something you want to do. You can do it here or you can message me and we'll get started. Okay. How you are getting in the way of going after your career dreams. Specifically, how our thoughts, feelings, and actions are preventing us from going after. So we all have dreams that we're sort of ignoring. And there is typically, we have excuses. We always do. And the excuses are typically things that are outside of the little bubble. But most of those times, those excuses come from thoughts, feelings, or actions that we're sort of going through. So let's talk about your thoughts. So what thoughts are you having about yourself and your career? Most common thoughts are things like, you don't have time, you're too busy, you're too, old, too close to retirement, your ship has sailed, or you're too young, you don't have enough experience, you haven't put in the work, or you just finished an expensive degree in something you don't want to do, or you have a young family, you have a mortgage to pay, something you are too not in the right place. Essentially, a lot of it is thoughts that a dream career just is not for you. Okay? That's probably a lot of the thoughts that you're having, I'm imagining. Let me know if you are. Let me know in commenting what the thoughts you are having about your career. One thing I want to tell you though, is you are not your thoughts. Okay? Thoughts are just things that come into your head. And we place so much value in them, and we tie our self-identity, our self-worth to those thoughts. But your thoughts are not you. And the worst thing about thoughts is that they create feelings. And I want to talk about feelings. So what are the feelings that are coming from those thoughts? Typical things are like, I'm too afraid. I'm worthless. I'm not good enough for the career that I really want. I'm too stressed out. I'm too overwhelmed. I'm too frustrated with everything that's going on. These are a lot of the feelings that we have. And I mentioned fear, being afraid. And I know I talk about fear a lot, but fear usually is behind so many of those negative emotions. Now, obviously, if you're stressed because you're overworked and you have too much on your plate, fear is not dictating that stress. But sometimes just the thought of doing something, just the thought of going after your career brings stress. And typically that's because fear is talking. And the thing is, what I see in myself, obviously, and in others, is the thing we're most afraid of is fear itself. But we don't recognize that. I don't know if anyone's like a Harry Potter fan like I am. But there's a great scene in the third book with what's it called? The thing that comes out and changes into whatever you're afraid of. In Harry Potter, it turns into a Dementor, and the Professor Lupin says to him, "You are afraid of fear," which is such a wise thing to be. Instead of being afraid of the things that fear masks itself, because fear, as we know, wears many masks, and it prevents us from taking actions. And so many times, because we're so afraid of being afraid, is we hide from fear. We hide from fear by doing lots of different things. So that could be like overeating, over-exercising. It could be from shopping for things we think will bring us happiness. Fear also has us overworking, which not a lot of people realize. Sometimes we overwork to distract ourselves from our thoughts and our feelings. It's easier to get lost in your to-do list than it is to sit down and deal with these thoughts and feelings about why we aren't going after what we want to be going after. So I want you to take a moment and really think about your career dreams. So what are the thoughts and the feelings that come to mind? Are they any of the above? Are the thoughts and feelings about your career things like you're not good enough? Or things like it's just not for you? You don't have time? And so if those are some of the thoughts, I want you to think about how that's making you feel about your career dreams. Because it's really hard to take action when negative thoughts and feelings are the first things that come to mind. So you think, this is what I want for my career. And then what follows it is, are you kidding me? You can't get that. That's not you. You're not worth that. No one would ever hire you for that. You don't have time to find that. It would never work. If those are your first feelings and thoughts that come to mind, of course, you're never going to go after it. Because why are you going to go after something that is right now bringing you a lot of pain, frustration, and more stress? So I want you to do one thing. I want you to get excited. I want you to get excited about your career. I want you to think exciting, happy thoughts about what that career could look like. So picture yourself walking into that sort of office every day, whether it's a home office or an office in a shiny new building or whatever, or an office in a hospital, whatever it is that your career dream is. Think about showing up. Think about the work that you would be doing. Think about the impact that you'd be having. Every job has an impact. What would that be? Now, don't think about the thoughts about how to get there. As soon as you try and think about how, that's when fear shows up. That is when all those negative thoughts and feelings will come, because those are the masks that fear wear to stop us. Because we want to stay comfortable. And going after dreams and goals is uncomfortable. So fear does not want us to do that. So don't think about the how, just think about you're already there. Get excited. Think about, oh my gosh, this is what I could do. So I know for me, I wanted to go into career coaching for a long, long time before I finally did it, before I finally jumped in. And I had stints of career coaching throughout my 15 years. So it's not like I never went for it, but I never committed 100%. Because my thoughts and my feelings prevented me from doing it. So when I was first laid off from my job that I hated, and I'm going to talk more about it in my article next week, I was like, I told them, oh, this is great. You know what? Recruitment's not just really for me, I don't think. I think I'm going to go into employment coaching and career coaching. But then fear of, well, you have a mortgage to pay. And everyone's telling me it's going to take me a year to find a job. And there were like not many employment counselor positions out there. And so my fear kept me from going after that. It took me like 10 years later before I finally did it. And if I just thought about, and because every time I started to think about it, every time I started to maybe start a little bit of a website or start really doing informational interviews in that world and some networking in that world, the fear would prevent me from thinking about what it would actually feel. How I would feel showing up every day helping at least one person. That's my goal. Help at least one person every day with their career. Whether it's through my posts and just some inspiration and motivation, whether it's through this or my articles or my free resources or from working one-on-one with clients. And if I had spent the time thinking about what it could feel like having that sort of impact, I know I would have done it sooner. Because it is amazing and incredible, and I like the happiness and fulfillment and the satisfaction I get from living my purpose every day is so worth dealing with the fear. So worth overcoming all the obstacles. So I want you to think about that, to think about what it is that job would do, how it would bring you that fulfillment, and worry about the how later. Once you are fully excited about it, okay, then we can start to take actions. Because those thoughts and feelings, definitely, when they are negative, they're definitely going to prevent you from going after them. They're going to make you procrastinate. You're going to procrastinate going after your career dream. So either next year, 3 years, when something, fill in the blank. And there's usually 2 reasons why we don't go after our dreams, why we don't take action. And it's some sort of fear of the result. So if we break it down, there's going to be 2 results. You're going to be successful in going after your dream, or you're going to fail. And for most of us, that fear of failure is enough to paralyze us. I know, dealing with failure is something I'm still currently working on. With my career, I'm better, definitely much better. In my personal life, I'm getting there. It's a process. Like ice skating, I'm terrified of ice skating. I'm going to be signing up for lessons. We'll talk about that in the new year because I need to face my fears because I see it in my children. fear of failure, fear of being made a fool of, is preventing them from doing things that they want to do. So I want to be an example. Plus, it'll hopefully be good for me. Hopefully I won't break another arm. I've broken enough over the years. But anyway, fear of failure. And fear of failure, it's not easy to overcome, but there are definitely ways in which that we can handle that. And it might not be dealing with the fear of failure within your career. It could be finding something where the stakes maybe aren't as high and going after it. And if you fail, well, you fail. Like, no big deal. But if you're successful, great. But if you fail, hopefully it'll show you that failure is just a part of our journeys. I listen to a lot of podcasts on failure. And making ourselves vulnerable to failure leads us to so many great successes. And so working on being more comfortable with it. So there's some great ones. Tim Ferriss has a bunch of them. The Life Coach School podcast with Brooke Castillo has a whole bunch. The Lively Show, I think, has a couple. There's a ton out there that talk about failure, and lots of books to help sort of get you moving forward. So the other fear is fear of success. This is just as tough to deal with because I know there are a lot of us afraid of success. Because then what? What if you're successful? And then what if it doesn't change anything? What if it doesn't bring us that so-called happiness we're going after? What if we're successful and it isn't the right job, isn't the right career? And honestly, that can happen. All of that stuff can happen. Does it mean we should stay stagnant in something we know we hate? That we know is not our purpose? No. It means we should work through those. What is your fear of success? What are the feelings behind it? And what are the thoughts that are causing those feelings? And what can you do to change that? Or what is the contingency plan? So what if you start this new job and it isn't all it's cracked up to be? Well, what do you do? Is it the end of the world? No. Could you find another job? Yes. Is it maybe not the job, but the company? Could be. Is happiness the be all and end all? Yes, definitely. Will you always be happy? No. Every aspect of our lives, including our jobs, have things that we don't really like or love. So that's just, you can't have the great without the bad. That is just not how the way the world works. But coming to terms with that will definitely help. Because I don't want the fear of failure, the fear of success, the feelings of not worthy or not enough time. There are solutions for that. And when I talked about goal setting, about brainstorming and coming up with brainstorming your problems, brainstorming the solutions, and then picking one thing. Just get moving towards fulfilling your career dreams and your career goals, so that you can find your purpose and you can find what it is that makes you happy. Any questions about this? Feel free to reach out to me. I posted a poll about a challenge or like some free content for the new year, and it looks like the challenge is winning by far. I posted it on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. And so right now it looks like the Find Your Way challenge is leading by a landslide. And so what the two options were, a free four-part series on the job search roadmap, where I would do live online workshops in Zoom, going through each part of the job search roadmap. So introspection, marketing plan, the job search itself, and then getting hired in more detail, taking questions almost as if I was doing the workshop live, because I would be doing it live. And we have a few votes for that, but most votes are for the Find Your Way Challenge. So that's not the name. I don't know what the name would be yet. Let me know if you have any ideas. That challenge would be all about figuring out what it is. So most of us, and so many of us, kind of have an idea that we want to change our career, but we don't know exactly what it should look like or what it would look like. So this would be probably a week-long challenge with a video every day, maybe a mini Q&A session online, some worksheets. I'm kind of working through how that would look. Let me know if you have any ideas, or tell me what you want to see. Like, what could I do to help you figure it out? Okay. And if you want to vote, you haven't voted, definitely on my page, you can find that poll. Let me know. And I look forward to that. Next week, what am I going to talk about? Ask a question. Let me know. What do you want help with? Anyway, have a great weekend. Next week, last one in November. Can't believe it. And I will see everyone then. Take care. Happy hunting.